Oh, I like how you do that. So I Am Academy really is a like hands-on mentorship, working alongside of our students, giving them opportunities that traditionally they have not had, allow them in spaces that traditionally they haven't been in, to experience different career paths, just different opportunities that far as some of our youth and some of the challenges that they haven't had access to. So like scrap climbing, field trips, college visits, uh, engineering, STEM training. So similar things like that, but also in the concept of doing the work, we're building relationships with each other. Our college students are mentoring our high school students and our middle aged students. So the goal is really to create a really solid community that is invested in one another and sees each other as though we see them talented, gifted, and um, just needing the opportunity to be successful.
Wonderful. And what's the story of I Am? So those are great things that you're up to. What's the story? Where did this come from? Yeah, where did I Am Academy come from?
So I am from Zealand, and I graduated from Zealand High School back in 2004. In my experience, I wasn't able to put a name to what was happening with the micro and macroaggressions that I was experiencing from elementary all the way to graduation. It wasn't until I got to college when I gained some of those unwritten rules of, for a black person to be successful, you need to go above and beyond and do, make sure that, you cross your T's, you dot your I's. I had a professor who told me, I know all the other kids are wearing sweatpants, but you really need to dress up and be in front of the class and turn your stuff in on time. And you have to make sure that you're going above and beyond the status quo. And so that was all given to me. And then as I got into my career, I had another black mentor who shared with me once again in this district, in this school, you have to cross your T's, dot your I's. These are the things you need to do in order to be successful. As I was teaching at Harbor Lights Middle School, I saw myself in my black students. I saw black students going down the hall and they had the exact same experience that I was having. And so, and then after a few years, Philando Castile had been murdered, and that was in 2016. And that really hit my core because it just showed that it really didn't matter if you were professional, if you followed all of the rules, whatever the case may be, you know, your body can still be subjected to this violence and marginalized and discriminated against because of the color of your skin. And so, we started talking at a friend's house and just like, what can we do? Yes, there's protesting and marching and all these things, but what is that really doing? It's not changing anything for the youth that we're working with. So we came up with this idea, I Am Academy. At the time it was just I Am, and we really wanted it to be empowering and showing kids, here are the opportunities, here's representation, here's support. And those three things we found, and after researching across the board, were named as necessities for a child's success. And so we took that and brought that into I Am. And we wanted to create something and use the platform that we had in the schools. We were already connected to students in order to create this program for our students that would help them be successful. You can speak on your...
No, mine was similar. Growing up in Holland, I think I was one of four blacks that graduated my class in '96. And so with just knowing that, for me, the only representation I had in the building of someone that looked similar to me of an adult was my youth leader who came to the school a couple times a week. And so, I think not being able to see yourself in certain spaces or see, the next step of where you may be at in an elder, is hard for a young man to try to navigate that, because sports are always good. There's these other things out there, but career-wise, becoming a family man, being a good, solid individual in your community, like these things weren't really being represented. Well, we didn't have an opportunity to see representation in that, and so for me, it wasn't until moving to Chicago where I had some interaction with individuals that looked like me, and they were really like, hey man, I can't believe you're in the city, you're working this job right here. We don't really get a lot of opportunities in that. And so like for me, like the dialogue I was having was unlike I had ever had in Holland. And so with seeing black professionals come in, having conversations with them, and I'm just like, I'm literally sitting down talking to like 3 black lawyers right now that came across the street over here. I've never been able to have that. I've never been able to be in that space. And so with knowing, like, I felt myself being more confident in myself and things like that, just through our dialogue. And for myself, it was like, okay, what if I had these experiences when I was younger? Or what if some of the young people, and this is before we had really even I had really gotten into youth ministry. Coming back to Holland, I started seeing young men, like I started working at a summer camp right away. It was at Trinity Church, and I worked with middle schoolers, 5th and 6th graders. And similar to what Lindsay said, I saw myself in these young men and some of the things that they were struggling with. And then once you make a connection with home, you start seeing a lot of the bigger picture, and you start seeing, hey, it's not that the parents don't care, it's that they really are strapped and they don't have the ability to do anything extra or give any more time because they're at work or they're doing this. And so what would it look like for us to come around some of our students and actually give them some of these experiences and take them to see some things? I think we'd be surprised about how many kids that we work with that have never even left like West Michigan. And so for them to not even know what Grand Rapids looks like outside of Holland, that kind of puts them in a very small box of what they see themselves being able to do in Holland, where we know we don't really have a lot of diverse leadership in our city. And so with getting them these experiences and letting them simply just see that, I mean, the kids were asking questions and they saw themselves in positions simply because I was a personal trainer at a gym. I brought a student with me. We check in a month later about career stuff, and he says to me, hey, I think I want to get into personal training. And we table that conversation. I meet with the next young man. He was there with us, 2 separate conversations. Says the same exact thing. What's in common? They saw somebody that looks like them doing something that they felt like, oh, I could do that too. And it was that simple, really. It wasn't it wasn't anything. But just knowing that, like, if we start doing these things, and that's kind of what we did. We started testing it out, having people come into the school, speak to them. Lindsay had Tomorrow's Leaders at West Ottawa with her middle school group, and they had Ottawa County Police come in. They've had different leaders in our community come in from different professional backgrounds and just have a conversation, share a little bit of their testimony, what they went through, what that was like. And you begin to see our kids like wheels turn and start asking questions. And I think I am is theirs. I mean, I think they truly believe that. Like this is ours. We recruit people into I am too as well. These relationships that we build with these other businesses are their relationships that they have with these individuals in those spaces. So I know I went probably a little bit long.
So I love everything I heard. It gave the background a bit about who you are, but it also talked about that why, right? Mm-hmm. Like you really were able to show the why in your answers. Thank you for that. So part of your model that's been really wonderful for TRC to hear about, for our members to think about together, for our justice and equity team, for instance, as we've been thinking about this partnership, is this idea of partnership and how you see yourselves partnering with the community. So can you say more about that, and also say in that partnership with the community conversation, talk about what do you need from Third Reformed Church, and what does partnership with Third Reformed Church look like?
Mm-hmm. You know, we've sat in so many conversations, table talks, and have been invited to the table, whether it's the City of Holland where we've requested conversation, Holland PD where we've requested conversation, schools, businesses, organizations, especially since, all of the shootings that have taken place. And for us, not only because of the students that, we serve, but also our own children, we want it to be that our community is inclusive and welcoming, and that any child has the same opportunity, to reach success and to be able to access whatever it is that they want, or that they need in order to achieve their goals and their dreams. And we're not there yet. We have populations that are still marginalized and discriminated against here in Holland, and that these stories have not stopped. As we continue these conversations, the stories are still happening, and we have a lot of talent that moves here, leadership that comes with their family, and they're gone after a year, maybe not even a year actually, and we keep hearing those same stories of they weren't welcomed, they were stared at, they weren't served, they were followed, whatever the case may be. We want that to change, and we have found that intentionality, being authentic, having those authentic relationships, that really helps to, helps us to see each other, and helps us to see that, yes, you may look different, you may believe differently than I do, you may live a different lifestyle, but you're still a human being, you are still an image of God, and you still deserve to be seen and heard. Please come to the table, you're welcomed here. And so with, our model, the idea of partnership, yes, we can change, and, we can equip and support and provide representation and opportunity to our students, but if the community around them is still operating as it is, then our students still don't have a place here, right? And so if we can show these organizations and businesses, these kids are not dangerous criminals, whatever label you want to put on them. They're kids, and they have dreams, and they have aspirations, and they deserve to be at the table with your children. And if we can show that, then we're not just focusing on the micro, but we're also focusing on the macro. And that's so important if we're actually going to make a change. And so with these partnerships, our kids are going into Disher and Miller Knoll and, to all these different spaces. And they're not just seeing and being exposed to the careers, but the people that are there are being seen and being exposed to our kids and who our kids are. And they are seeing that, yes, these kids are worthy of us investing in them, whether it's time, money, or showing them the way in order to get to where they are. And so this partnership at Third is so important, and we are so grateful because we are able to provide more opportunities for those kinds of partnerships. There, I'm sure, are a lot of people that are connected to different businesses and organizations that we want to be able to expose our kids to, but then also to be able to continue that dialogue and to create that safe space for the people at Third Church to ask questions and have us come and, train your people at your, at your place of business. Invite our kids into your place of business, and to build these relationships that will then, begin to change this community so it is more welcoming and more inclusive. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I would say, with my time being in my position in the past of being a community engager at Christ Memorial, I found it very difficult being in that role to partner, like to have our church partner with other churches. And so for me, like I took a step back and really was praying about it. It was like, really, it starts with a relationship. And so it's not like this, hey, how do we get our two logos on this together? No, like how do we get our hearts like in this space together? And like, what does that look like then for us to then have some overlap and be able to really invest in doing work together? Because now we're moving as the body, as one. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that type of work is a lot. I felt has been a lot easier with being in IAM Academy and being able to partner with other churches. That's something that for me has been a prayer that I've been praying for a while, to get churches in Holland to work together. And what does that look like? And I think this is a very, very, very solid step in that direction with Third. Where you guys are located at, community ministry is like right at your door, and I'm all about community ministry, of just engaging our neighbors where they're at. And for me, I'm excited just to see, what comes out of this. I think when I hear that Third they want to be a church for 12th and for 13th Street, to me, that's where it's at. It's like you're supposed to be reaching out with both hands, and if we can assist in what we do and in the way that we do it, and if that helps, we're all for it.
And practically speaking, you need some volunteers for some STEM camps, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So can you say a little bit about that as we close our time together? Like there's a real practical ask that you have of Third Reformed Church right now.
Yes.
Yeah, we this will be our 7th summer in Meadow Lanes. It kind of started out with just being reading, just because of some of the things I was seeing from my time working at Jefferson, and some of the struggles over there. But we've kind of tweaked it to turn it into more of a like a day camp almost, to where we were doing food. We do reading / devos. That's how we sneak the word in. And then we do the STEM. We do STEM camp, so STEM activities, anywhere from building buildings with Legos to creating, like designing a boat to float and slime. So very simple things. But what it actually does is it gives us a very good opportunity not to just minister to our youth there, but gives us a great opportunity to really build a rapport with their parents, because they do actually come out and they're there. So please put your evangelist hats on.
But it's Tuesdays and Thursdays.
It's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 until 3. We will feed you, guaranteed, and it's coming off the grill. And so, yeah, it's a good time to hang out. We have 10 weeks where we'll be going through. So I believe there's 19 days that we'll be out there. We had to take one day away for a summer trip. But no, we would love to have you out there. We've had some great conversations about what it may look like. But I think you will be pleasantly surprised by what God is doing in Meadow Lanes. Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people get caught up on, I'm too old, I'm not trained, I'm not equipped, I don't know how to, and it is hard to engage with people who, are not like us, because you have to get out of your own comfort zone in order to reach out to, but what you're going to find is these are just kids, and kids are forgiving, and they just want a relationship, and for you to help them mix their slime, or help them with their paint project, or spray water on them, they just want to have fun, and it's easy. And so it's a great opportunity for you to step into a space that you don't live in, and with people that you're not normally around, to be able to engage and make those connections and build those relationships. And so whether it is STEM camp during the summer, or if it's Juneteenth, that we'll have, with our Juneteenth jump off, here at Third, we're having this basketball tournament. We want you to come out and to join us, and
in your parking lot.
Yes, in your park. Just engaging with the families and the students that come. Just come and just check it out. that's a great opportunity for you to see what I Am is all about and what we do, and then to come alongside and work with us during this STEM summer camp. So